MMA Jammin with the mighty Kyle Chin, and I'm here today with special guest, amateur lightweight champion from RFL, Shiaiene Blake.
Big up, big up.
So Shiaiene, you don't know where we start with a little jam, and Shiaiene been jamming out to Jazz Elise. You don't know, big up little sister in Jazz Elise, fresh and clean.
Fresh and clean, 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 fresh and clean. Step on the scene, oh, I'm so blessed and free. When we step on the scene, oh.
Yo, the thing bad. Yeah, so you don't know, welcome, bro.
There.
And I just want people to understand that, you know, you don't see much social distancing here, we're not wearing masks, but everybody who I've had on are people who I train with. So they're in the bubble. You know, the masks are not so necessary for us. But anyway, let's carry on. This last weekend, I've got straight into to UFC, man. UFC 255 was amazing. Amazing from top to bottom.
Yeah,
like
the entire card. The entire card was stacked, to be honest.
Yeah, but we're going to start, before we even go to the main card, like there were so many incredible things that happened. That first fight of the night, we're talking early prelims, Louis Koss versus Sasha Paliknikov. And what a battle that was, man.
Fight of the night, right
Yeah,
off the bat.
and they did get fight of the night, which is impressive because Shevchenko never get fight of the night. Like, you know, none of them boys never get no bonuses. But this fight was crazy. It was a TKO in the third round, and they were slinging, man. They were back and forth.
Yeah, it was non-stop action. I think Sasha, I don't want to say dominated the fight, but he managed his range well in that fight. He had the fight where he wanted to be at all times.
But you know what? It really was. It was a slugfest. Like, it wasn't very technical. It was technical, but it wasn't like they were trying to move away from each other. They decided that they were going to stand in front of each other, and Sasha was a huge underdog, which is always a crazy thing. You know what I mean? When people come into these things as underdogs and then have a point to prove, and so them just go
that dog mentality, man. Nothing to lose, so might as well go forward. Let's slug it out.
Which is an interesting thing. Like, there's always this concept about, you know, having nothing to lose when you go into a fight, which is interesting because you would think there's no such thing as having nothing to lose when you go into a fight, but there really is a big difference in the pressure. When you have it all, when you have everything to lose, you have the belt, or you have the higher reputation, or whatever it is,
the rank, all of that,
then it creates a certain amount of pressure against you, and it's something that we're going to see that's recurrent in this card, especially because of people like Shevchenko, who
people expect to just go out there and walk over miles.
At the start of the fight, she was a negative 2,000, minus 2,000 favorite.
You bet 12K, you win 600. Like, is it worth it?
It's crazy. And somebody actually did bet $12,000 and won $600.
So got his profit at the end of the day.
Man, but we're going to circle back to Shevchenko. Alan Joban, Jared Gooden. It was really good to see Alan Joban back in the octagon, and had a great fight against Jared Gooden, who was game the whole time, was giving Alan a lot of trouble. As a matter of fact, Alan was touching him the whole fight,
and he just kept walking through.
But he was just walking him down, man.
Walking,
and every time Gooden touched Alan, you could see
the impact.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, at the end of the fight, Gooden never looked nowhere.
Yeah, but Alan was kinda
bruised up. Mashed up, man, bruised up. But great fight.
I don't want to go to back. Just to go back to the Sasha thing where he said a man with nothing to lose. Like, I always wonder what's more dangerous. A man with nothing to lose, a man who's lost everything, or a man who has everything to lose. Comment down below and tell us what's the worst kind of person to fight out of those three. A man with nothing to lose, a man who's lost everything, or a man with everything to lose.
That's a great question, man.
The guy that lost his daughter, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah.
And he said, he's not afraid of fighting anymore because there's nothing you can do to hurt me anymore. I've been through it all. That's a man who has already lost everything. It's also
that was Walt Harris, but it's also like when you hear veterans, man who done tours in Iraq or wherever, and them coming to the cage and them fighting. Like,
this is child's play.
You can't tell them, man, they say they're intimidated or you're going to scare them, man. Like, what them man they seen of them life. And it's a recurring thing too, that you see that people who have humble beginnings, most of the champions are coming from humble beginnings or just coming from a really tough background of having to work hard
having
their
to
whole
scratch
life,
the way up the entire time.
and it's because they're not afraid of these things. They've worked through it all. They've seen it all, and it's just a part of life. It's easy. Matter of fact, Kamzat from Chechnya, Kamzat born in a war zone, and born during a war, in a war zone. Them man say, "Oh, fighting is nothing.
Like this is nothing.
Fighting is nothing."
I've
Like,
seen, what can you do to me in there?
there's nothing he's afraid of. Antonina Shevchenko against Ariane Lipsky.
You know,
Too hot, girl.
definitely. It was interesting that both the Shevchenko sisters implemented wrestling / jiu-jitsu right out the back. Because when you think of the Shevchenkos, you think about striking a lot.
Right.
Bullets, like she's coming at you fast,
Right.
hands and feet striking. But both of them implemented a lot of wrestling and jiu-jitsu in their games on that night. That was pretty interesting.
It was a true show of mixed martial arts. They really were showing that they're dominant everywhere. And Antonio got a fight of the night bonus, so big up herself. That was unexpected. She was not expected to beat Lipsky.
Yeah.
She was not expected to stop Lipsky. So
Joaquin
that was
Buckley.
big. Joaquin Buckley, you don't know, they talk about pressure again.
Yeah.
So you have this guy now coming up, brand new, and everybody is looking to see great things from him because of the knockout that the fight, the knockout of the year, maybe knockout of the decade, maybe knockout of UFC history. It would have taken over from Edson Barboda spinning heel kick.
Yeah.
And it's the only knockout of its kind. They have it as a third, but it's the only.
No, they have it as a spinning wheel kick, but it's actually a back kick.
No, but it's not the only one because Uriah.
Wasn't it a heel kick as well?
No, it was a spinning against Gegard Mousasi. Against
Was it a
Gegard
back
Mousasi, it was a jumping back kick.
Oh.
Remember, and Gegard ducked down the night.
Yeah, and then.
Although I don't know if that counts because they never knock out Cole, he still had to follow up
I
and
guess.
strike. But anyway, it was an incredible knockout. Everybody must have seen it by now. The amount of people who message me
The same
and send me
night
this.
happened. The amount of gifs.
I'm still getting it.
And
I'm
I'm
still
like-
getting that. Hey, see this, somebody send me this thing.
You can do this, you can do this. I'm just like, well, we can, but it's not the easiest thing to pull off in the cage under
No,
that
not
pressure.
under the pressure, which makes everything different.
Yeah.
But yeah, him was under that pressure now to come out with a great finish,
Follow-up.
great performance. Like, I think people would have been seriously disappointed if he didn't knock the person out.
Yeah, if he went to a
Whoever is
decision.
fighting. Just for him to go to a decision after having this kind of momentum and everybody being all viral from Idiot Trump to everybody else is tweeting him.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting with Joaquin seeing that he doesn't cut much weight. Like, he weighed in under the weight limit at 182 or 183.
I think it's 183 came in.
And the entire fight just kept walking down. His guys were like, what sort of walk downs in this UFC? I don't know if it's the size of the cage being smaller or whatever, but people were going forward. There wasn't much.
And Jordan is a big dude who had a kick heavy approach. It was a very interesting fight to watch. But Joaquin obviously has monstrous power.
Yeah.
Because he walked down the man and eventually knock him out. And
Every touch I was slipping, I was dodging, I was like, okay, I don't want this to reach me.
Yeah, man. No, it was very impressive. And then we had Brandon Moreno and Brandon Royval, which I was hugely disappointed. I think so. Moreno showed a great performance.
Mm-hmm.
His ground acumen was just amazing to see how he could handle himself. Yeah.
I didn't want to call it. It was an interesting chess game. On
Yeah,
the ground, to
and
be
what
honest.
I really expected Royval to kind of like dominate because Royval is so diverse and it's not diverse, versatile.
Yeah.
He's so versatile in the things that he's able to do, and he also has that crazy reach, and he has the speed, all of that. But for the shoulder, man.
Yeah.
And no, this puts a whole shadow over his entire career.
To be
Because
honest.
now we're always gonna wonder.
What would have happened?
No, what will happen? So every
be
fight
honest.
coming up, even though he might be technically better than the person.
That shoulder, because that shoulder slipping out is a recurring thing.
Yeah, anybody who has that situation, it happens all the time. It's not like.
And you saw, like, even when the fight concluded and his coach came in, popped it back in place, like, he was ready to go again.
Mm-hmm.
There was like 4:59, there was 1 second left
Yeah.
in that round.
It
So what
hurt,
would have
man.
happened if that had gone to the second round? We still don't know.
Which is, but you can't take it away from Moreno.
Oh, no.
Moreno really did perform very well.
You saw the finish.
And was pressuring him, was scrambling like crazy, and he was very offensive on the ground. And now he set himself up for Figueiredo,
Exactly.
who asked for him, which is kind of interesting that the champ would ask for a specific fight.
I kind of like that mentality, to be honest. We see it with Israel as well. Like, I'm not going to say I don't like it, but it's a nice change to not see the champ just sitting back and alright, who's next, send me anybody. No, they say a guy, okay, I want that guy, send me that guy, he's working, let's go, let's fight. Like, call out people. I like the to and fro. I'm not the nicest person myself, so I like that. I like that contention, to be honest. It makes the fight, like, fights are a story, so I like that story to be told. It's not just in the cage. The story happens from the night the fight, before the fight is even booked. You work you up to that story, tell a story for the ages. Like, I like seeing call-outs. I can't help it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And the thing is, a lot of champions take the mentality that, hey, I'm the champ. That means I have to fight everybody and anybody that you put in front of me, because I'm the top of the hill. So most of the champions won't do the call-outs because they're just waiting. They're just like, all right,
yeah, and they're guaranteed a fight anyway. You don't have to work that hard for it.
You're right in that how interesting that fight becomes goes up by 50%, 100% once your champion is dictating who the guy is. But then you have a man like Israel who came under criticism because he would call out people who are on a losing streak, like Romero. He would call out people who, weren't necessarily number one contender.
I get you.
You know what I mean? And then it never looked so great. But then he had his reasoning behind it. Romero, even though Romero was on a losing streak, nobody don't want to fight Romero. No time.
Romero lost to the former champion and the number one contender. Like, it's a losing streak, yes.
Yeah.
But those are two top guys.
Exactly.
And Costa also wasn't ready. Wasn't able to take the Israel fight at that time. And who wanted to fight Romero? Nobody wanted to fight Romero.
Everybody are run from that one day. Man, Mauricio.
Shogun,
man. Shogun versus Paul Craig. I did not want to see Shogun fight again. I've never seen Shogun look so old.
Yeah,
like his face look haggard.
I remember, I think it was the second or first one, Craig shot for a takedown. Like, the reaction time seemed slow, and I was like, damn, Shogun.
Man, remember Shogun won the Pride Grand Prix at 19 years old.
Shogun's prime of his career is arguably in Pride and not even UFC.
Right, not even the UFC at all. Like, he had a short stint where he was champion, and since then he's just really honestly, I don't think he's ever been the same since the John Jones fight. What Jones did to him, I think has taken years off his life.
Yeah,
and this happens, man. When you have hard fights, it does affect how you perform.
Some of your lifespan in that ring.
You're diminished. So it was really hard to watch and see Shogun get his ass beat.
Not to knock Shogun still, because I think in his last 7 fights, that's his second or third loss in his last 7. So he
has had some wins.
He's been up and down.
I remember when Anthony Smith did knock him out, I was like, damn, that was rough too, man.
Nobody wanted to see that. Nobody liked seeing that.
But him don't want to retire, and it's so sad because I think about Shogun and immediately I think about Anderson Silva, who
still wants to continue.
He just wanted to leave the UFC, so that all of that emotion that we saw last time was really about him leaving UFC. All of the memories and the good vibes that he's had from UFC, but he is very upset about the fact that Dana and everybody else wants him to retire, and he wants to go on to another organization and fight. And it's so sad. It's the saddest thing I've ever heard in my life. And it really, really makes me very, very upset to think that this man is going to put himself through more. He's not as fast. He's not as... His chin is not there.
No.
Him touch him out. It's not the same, man.
But the retirement topic is a touchy subject. Like, this is what these people have lived for a long period of time. How can you expect me to just give that up right away, just surrender? But what I am, to be honest, it's a really touchy thing.
And it's what it does too. There's a focus that it brings to your life. There's a focus and structure that it brings to your life every time you prepare for a fight. So you go boom, you enter into a fight camp, and then your whole life becomes tunnel vision toward this one goal.
You get to avoid the distractions.
Everything is put to the side. You're focusing on becoming a more efficient person, physically, mentally, emotionally. for this fight. And then you get to that fight, and for the majority of his career, he has gotten to experience this glory of victory and the worship of his fans and the adoration of
everybody loves
everybody.
Silva, except Chill.
Yeah, Chill love him now. But yeah, and so it really is a very difficult thing for these fighters to just stop. I mean, we're going to talk about Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. soon. You know what I mean? Like, but to come back, Caitlin Chukagian versus Cynthia Calvillo, great fight. I thought Chukagian looked amazing. It was incredible.
That jab.
Yeah, man.
Pop.
Yeah, man.
Every time
smooth with the hands. Smooth with the hands. Almost as smooth as Tim Means. Bro.
Yeah. Tim Means was popping Perry.
Yo, it was so clean. His whole striking approach was just so clean. It was just at any moment that he saw opening, it was just pop.
No hesitation. It's
no
right
hesitation. It was right here. And he wasn't. Perry was loading up the entire time, and Perry did a really good job to suck Tim Means into a actual fight.
Brawl, yeah.
Sucked him into a
Perry
a
did
brawl.
what Perry does. You're guaranteed, no matter, despite the weight cut, the missing weight issues, one thing with Perry, it's always going to be a fight.
And it's going to be entertaining.
Perry's going to come forward, and I'm swinging at you.
Yeah.
I might not be the best technically anywhere, but I'm coming at you. It's always a fight with Perry.
And you know what people don't realize about Tim Means? Tim Means is a hardcore UFC veteran. This was like his 22nd fight in UFC, which is incredibly impressive, but also very it's kind of strange in itself, because I don't remember Tim Means ever making a title run.
Yeah, you don't hear about him much.
And it's very easy to get cut from the UFC.
Very.
It's very, you know what I mean? So it means for you to stay around this long,
you have to be winning.
You have to be performing well. Not necessarily winning,
because the top 10 guys might get away with a few losses, but if you're down there ranked number 50 and below that, you have to be performing.
And I mean, 31-12 is no crap
That's
record.
No small feat. That's no small feat.
But Tim Means looked amazing against Mike Perry. He was touching him up. Mike Perry, of course, with him big idiot self, have him girlfriend in the corner, him pregnant girlfriend.
Okay, I saw somebody else in Perry's corner giving him water, and the girlfriend was outside the cage.
Yeah, so there was somebody else there.
I don't know if anybody won Perry's raffle of who bet the highest money shall corner him. I know Darren Till wanted it, but Darren Till wasn't there, so.
Till is the biggest troll right now when it comes to Perry. Jennifer Maia, Valentina Shevchenko. And the interesting story about this is, like we say, the pressure situation and the underdog situation. But Shevchenko said it in her post-fight press conference. She's like, listen, I've worked harder than any woman out here to get to this point, because she never come from the US. She's been training since she's 5 years old.
She's a secret agent. I'm still holding on to that rumor. All those languages trained in all sorts of combat arts.
Training since she's 5 years old.
Yeah, she's
and then and never got to the UFC until mostly 8 years ago, something like that.
2 years ago.
So it's not like, so she's been in the game a long time. So she doesn't ever worry about losing the drive. Yeah. Or, you know what I mean, not being hungry enough.
She has that discipline to just keep pressing.
Listen, we don't talk about all of these people from that side of the world. We don't talk about the Russians and the...
We know them stay.
You know what I mean? And I know she's not Russian, but
yeah,
one of them countries there. Oh, God.
It was pretty interesting to see the scrambles on the ground and how...
Kyrgyzstan.
And how they both controlled each other. Because in the first round, Shevchenko went for the takedown right away. I'm just like...
Yeah, but you know what? I don't blame her, because she saw it. It was available. She just took it. Like, it was just a scramble. Like, she was striking and girl got too close, so she just boom.
That's what MMA
went for the throw, and that's what MMA is. And that's it. She's such a complete martial artist that she has confidence everywhere. She knows that she can do that and still be dominant. And she was. She dominated the entire first round. And it's interesting how it got switched on her.
Yeah.
But Maia is obviously a powerhouse.
Yeah.
Maia's obviously very physically strong and imposing and heavy. You could see she looked heavy, like she hold her up against the cage, and that was
Shevchenko wasn't going anywhere.
She couldn't move.
She has to control, dig for what she could get, and try and keep herself there. And you know, when I saw Shevchenko go for that takedown, like something came in my mind, right? I'm just like, what if Shevchenko is being an ass? In the sense that Maia's game is around the ground, right?
Yeah.
what if I was beat her at her own
John
game?
Jones
Like,
foolishness.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I like that mentality still, because
I do too. But
it's not always a striker versus grappler. Everybody's an
and you know what happens as well is that people, when they're getting ready for opponents, they think, okay, this opponent is a striker. Let me train for a striker. And they spend all this time. Conor McGregor did it against Khabib.
Yeah.
He talked about how he barely did any striking in his training camp for Khabib.
Yeah, he was doing all
and then
that,
was
bro.
getting caught on standing up. So there is that whole thing where you surprise your opponent and you bring something that they didn't expect. But like we said, both Shevchenkos were just showing their full gamut of skills. And at the end of the day, people jumped up and said, yo, what's happening? Even me, like I posted on my Instagram, I was like, what's happening now? Is this going to be an upset? And it's only one round she lose.
Yeah.
She lost 1 round out of 5.
I think it was the second round. Was it the second round?
It was the second round, I think. And then she just came back and dominated her again in the third. And then the last round was beautiful, the way she touched her.
Yeah. Back to clinical Shevchenko.
Right.
The bullet.
And that's the thing, you know, like, we might have criticized, and a lot of people did criticize what she did by taking her down and controlling her on the ground. But at the same time, when you do that, what she did was probably allow herself the freedom and the you know, just the option of striking.
Yeah.
Because she now made her worried about a takedown.
And you have to be concerned about the striking as well.
Probably slowed her down a little bit as well. It probably slowed down her arms. Her arms were probably a little more tired. All of these things.
Grappling drains. Striking after
big time.
grappling is one of the hardest things I've done.
Yeah.
Thanks to you, and I know how hard that is now.
Yeah, man. Thanks to Matthew. Matthew did that to me, I did to you. I was like, alright. You have Shevchenko, who is co-main, and they're really trying to push Figueiredo as the new champion, the new king of the featherweight. And
bad guy, so to speak, to be honest. He's a bad guy. The flyweight division, not featherweight,
flyweight. Alright. But yeah, and I mean, this is a division that he basically saved, because they were about to get rid of it.
Alright, let's not take out from Henry's props. Henry kind of saved the division, big up Triple C. You know, he brought some. He brought it back, to be honest, but then he moved up. But Figueiredo is something that the flyweight needed for a long time. He's a bad guy. Like, he's not out here trying to be nice. Does he look like a nice person to you? Like, he doesn't portray that nice guy mentality like Demetrius Johnson.
God of War.
Exactly. This man, he knows English, but chooses to continue to speak in Portuguese. Like, that's my choice. Like, I don't want to talk in your language. Come to me.
Oh, for real? I didn't even realize him know English. It's interesting because I started out as a hairstylist. Man was a cook or a chef. And now I'm doing him thing as a UFC champion. And it's crazy because him dangerous everywhere. Like, him have knockout power. He has incredible grappling.
The highest
scrambles.
finish rate in the flyweight division and the highest submission attempt rate in the flyweight division as well.
Oh, Zin.
So he has 18 knockouts or so. He was 20-1 now.
Yeah.
Last fight was a submission. Before this, he had only like one win where it wasn't a knockout. So his finish rate is extremely high, and he's the highest submission attempt rate per minute as well.
Wicked.
So you know, say, when I was standing up, he's coming. If you're on the floor, he's coming. There's no escaping Figueiredo. There's no escaping the God of War.
Wicked. I mean, a lot of people were criticizing the Alex Perez option because Alex Perez just come off a Dana White Contender Series. It's not like him have this big
Huge
UFC history. Don't have, you know,
wins against top 10 guys, but
look at his
talent
record
was
though.
There.
And his record 24-6.
That's more fights than Figueiredo.
Yeah, that's a you can't shit on that record at all.
And this fight was built as the power of Figueiredo versus the constant strikes, the lightning strikes of Perez.
Yeah.
And Figueiredo did what Figueiredo does. Figueiredo walks on people and tries to lay hands on them. Perez was doing his thing, but they ended up on the floor because Figueiredo got the submission. But I was surprised at how quick that fight ended. I was like, no, I wanted more. I wanted more violence. I wanted some aggression. But you see the win, you take it, guys. Don't ever drag the fight out just to please yourself, because people will surprise you. That's one of the reasons why I don't believe in a thing like a lucky punch. You can't call my punch lucky when I have done my time training as well.
That's right.
That punch is thrown with intent to hit you and to hurt you. It's not a lucky punch.
It's been thrown a million times in training. We've done drills where you're coming in and you know what I mean? You're quite right.
Yeah. And Figueiredo being the bad guy, I'll sit back, I'll talk my Brazilian. Don't talk to me, talk to my interpreter, talk to someone who translate for me.
the fact that he ended it quickly just stamps his dominance, and that's what we've been craving for this division, is a little bit of dominance.
Yeah.
And it goes a far way at the start. Like, people want to see that dominant champion, and then they get tired of them being so dominant. They want to see them have a struggle.
Somebody that rise up through the ranks.
Right, and then even if they don't lose the championship, they want to see them fight for the championship and really fight.
Yeah, they want to
go
see
some
them
diversity.
humanized, essentially.
Which is what made John Jones such a polarizing figure, or such a pull, because he did that. He went through that. He went through the coming up with dominance and coming up with like just destroying fools,
hurting
you know,
people.
And then there was a plateau, and then he started to do a lot of decisions.
Yeah.
Even if he was showing dominance, and then you had those fights where everybody was like, "Oh, he lost." And the same thing happened to GSP.
Yeah.
The same exact thing
GSP's
happened
last
to GSP.
fight before he retired. Like, GSP was battered that fight. He was bruised up after
The
that
last
fight.
few, because there was Johnny Hendricks, there was Carlos Condit, there was it was Johnny Hendricks and
Johnny Hendricks was the
Carlos.
last one. Oh, Hendricks was the last one.
Yeah.
Everybody was confused, thinking Hendricks won the fight.
Was it? Did he do Robbie Lawler? No, that was Robbie Lawler. Hendricks.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but those two fights were hard fought. His face was swollen as hell. You know what I mean? And so the same thing happened, and it's kind of like a cycle that happens with these champions. And it's an unfortunate thing. Like, so those two fighters who are always in the conversation for best pound for pound are known and held in such high esteem because they were fortunate enough, and I do say fortunate, to have lived that exact formula.
Yeah.
Come up in dominance, plateau, face some adversity where people actually think they lost, but you can argue that they won, and they did win on paper.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have to do something, and that's what John Jones recognized too.
Yeah.
He recognized that he has to do something new.
Exactly.
Because he was no longer dominating these guys, and it also has to do with the fact that now there's a million studies on on everything that you
Everybody
do.
coming up through the ranks now watches it. They watch your tape. They know your tricks and traits.
They've seen what you can do. They know your trends, all of that. They know your tricks. It's just like Anderson Silva has no tricks left. He has no tricks. Everybody's seen everything. Israel Adesanya could have written on paper
Blueprint
what he was going to do at each moment. So John Jones now has to do something new. He has to go up and face a new type of opposition in the heavyweight.
Yeah.
And I think he can do very well in heavyweight. I actually think he beats Israel at heavyweight.
Israel or Stipe? Stipe is a champion.
Israel
Israel
talked
Israel
about
can go all the way
Israel,
to heavyweight.
Israel said he would. He said that if John Jones goes up and gets the belt at heavyweight, he'll go up there for him.
Well, I like that mentality. I love
But
it.
it's the same mentality that all of these fighters have, and it's wrong. It's not wrong, but he's wrong.
Okay.
It's hubris. It's just like when Ronda Rousey was like, I can beat any man out there. I can beat up, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's just
let's not go there.
You are drinking your own Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
And Israel is drinking his own Kool-Aid and feeling like he's the greatest thing, which you kind of have to.
Yeah, I mean, he's backed up everything he said, and I'm an Izzy fanboy, right? I think the fight with Jones is pretty interesting.
I think it's great at 205.
At 205, it's pretty good, and Jones being Jones might want to stand there and kickbox with Izzy, which Izzy's very tricky on the feet. I haven't seen Jones been using his Greco-Roman a lot recently. I don't know why. I don't know if these guys are feeling strong. I don't know if it tires him out more. I don't know what it is. But he's been striking a lot more.
I do wonder if it has to do with the conditioning. Like, I feel like because the Santos fight, I thought it was really, Santos was so hurt.
Yeah, Santos against the cage, he wasn't very mobile, couldn't get away, and Jones, he chose to stand there and strike with him. And remember, Jones as well he's not the hardest trainer, he's not the hardest worker in the training room. So we don't know what his condition is like. I mean, look at the first Gustafsson fight, he openly admitted, I really didn't train much for this fight, But then the second Gustafsson fight, we say, I prepared for him. Since the guys thought I lost, that's what happens when I prepare.
But Jones suffers from that thing where he loses motivation.
Yeah.
Unlike Shevchenko.
And Izzy's giving him that now, to be honest, because they're going back and forth. Now that DC is retired,
he's got something to wake him up. Yeah, absolutely. And even the heavyweight situation, that's something to wake him up. This whole new idea of champ. Are you the greatest if you're not a champ? You know what I mean? That's now the question.
That's the question now.
If you're Khabib, you are. I can't believe the man go up on social media top right after Khabib, and the whole thing is like talking all kind of trash about, oh, you guys forgot about me. Bro, like, can you just chill for a second?
You're great, bro. You're great. But like, Khabib's dominance is unquestioned.
The ego. But alright. So, that was that card. It was an incredible card. Big up UFC for doing that.